what's important to note about this non-existent fight between God and Satan is that if Satan was actually at odds with God, which he is, but was in the same ring as God, that is a particular heresy that's referred to as dualism. That means that there's two divine entities, both on par, about equal and even with each other, and they're struggling. But that's not the picture that's played out. In the very beginning of sacred scripture, in chapter 3, verse 15 of Genesis, it says, now I want to give you context really fast. This is God speaking to the serpent, who is Satan, okay? So this is God addressing the devil. He says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. They will strike at your head while you strike at their heel. This clearly plays out a fight. It says enmity, that there is this enmity between, as it says here, enmity between you, Satan, and the woman. So he's not saying, God saying, I'm going to put enmity between the two of us. He doesn't say, I'm going to put enmity between your child, the woman's child and you. He doesn't say that. He says between you and the woman. There is a war, right, being waged. The general of God's army is Mary. In other translations, and in fact in previous translations of the Catholic Scripture, still valid, good Scripture, okay? There's different words that are used in the authentic translation. This is the New American Bible that I just read to you from. It's the latest up-to-date Catholic-approved translation of the Holy Scripture, okay? There's the other translation uses words that are even better, I think, to explain this fight. And I'm gonna reread this, but I'm gonna use those words, okay? Chapter 3, verse 15. I will put enmity between you and the woman. I will put enmity between you and the woman. No change yet, okay? Here it comes. And between your seed and her seed, he will strike at your head while you strike at his heel. Okay. What is the point of seed? So the people back in this time, they were agricultural. They had an understanding that life was kind of like agriculture. You plant a seed, it grows. They saw human life the same way. The man offers the seed. The woman offers the soil. The two complement one another for the perpetuation of life. Okay? That's why in Scripture, the seed is always referred to as a man offering the seed. How could a woman offer a seed? Why does it say that? Because God is no longer talking about Eve. He is talking about Mary. This is a reference to the perpetual virginity of Mary. Jesus is the seed of Mary. Therefore, it confirms Joseph was not his biological dad. This is a virgin birth that's being talked about right now. So get this. The moment there's a fall, the moment sin begins, the moment it happens, God immediately comes with salvific plans saying, this is salvation. Immediately. This doesn't just point to Adam and Eve. This points past them to Jesus and to Mary. At the moment of salvation, the moment it's mentioned, Mary is the center key piece of it. And her son, Jesus Christ, the seed, who will step on his head while he strikes at the heel. It's amazing that right away, Mary is introduced from the beginning of Scripture. It's just not so obvious all the time. And the number of times I've read this, I had never seen that there is actually a war and a battle between Mary and Satan. We know, furthermore, that he's not talking about Eve in this, because in verse 20 of the same chapter, Eve is for the first time referred to as Eve. Now, before this, she is called the woman, and that's why it's important to distinguish that. When he's talking about enmity between you and the woman, he's not talking about Eve. He is talking about Mary. Eve is later on referred to as Eve in verse 20 in chapter 3. So ultimately what it comes down to is, are you on Team Satan or are you on Team Mary? That's the fight. So who do you support? We already know who wins, so I don't want to give you a spoiler, but you should probably be on Mary's team.